Well, it's Leslie, and welcome to your core companion. So this particular section is on utilizing the wall. How can I use the wall to help myself or to help my clients? Well, let's talk about when we have, especially just a hard surface, right? It's all well and good, but what you're going to need for this is you're going to need a bender ball or something similar. So what happens, for example, if I place the ball in between my thighs, you're not squeezing it, and I'm pressing up against the wall here, I'm pretty much in a closed, position, or I have stability here, which is a great place, for shoulder work, for core work, etc. But by placing the ball under the hands, I now have an unstable surface. Now, you're not pushing so hard that we're ever compromising the wrists, but we have to now stabilize. And where I change the position of the ball, so if I go a little higher, I'm going to start to feel a lot more of my rectus abdominis lengthen. If I bring it down lower and press, I'm still going to feel core, but I'm actually feeling more calves. And if I obviously go lower and I squat back and I press, I'm feeling glutes and hamstrings. So if I'm here again, and I start to bend and extend, I'm going to start feeling my calves lengthen, especially if I want to do one at a time. So bringing my left knee forward and pressing and releasing. Am I getting arms here? You bet I am. That's going to be a lot of calf work on the right side. However, if I bring the ball up higher and now I start to drive the knee and I just leave my right hand on and I'm pressing here and I'm rolling up, wow, I'm starting to get a really delicious stretch in my hip. So even to be here and we pause. So keeping in mind, more at shoulder height, I'm going to really feel a work in my calf. The more I start to go a little bit lower and I hinge into this and I press back, I'm going to start to get a lot of upper body, but I'm getting my glutes and hamstrings. Let's go back to the hip. Now, from being here, I'm going to get a delicious stretch, but now when I start to reach through and I start to move, I'm actually moving my thoracic spine around my shoulder versus my shoulder around my thoracic spine. Now, you might want to go higher, get a bigger stretch in the hip. You might go lower if you've got shoulder issues, and maybe you barely even press into the ball. And again, if you've got restrictions, it might be here. But where I place the ball is going to change the emphasis of the desired result. So while I'm here, by placing the ball against the wall here, and I'm pressing into it, and just by lifting the outside knee and lifting and lowering and slightly pressing into the ball. So I press and I release, and I press, I release. What's cool that's happening here is I'm having to use my core. And now when I start to actually side bend a little bit while I lift the knee, or not even lift the knee and side bend, as I press into my hip, I'm starting to work on balance, but yet I still have stability. So for me, this is kind of a no-brainer. Now, you can lift the opposite knee, and this is great for hips as well, is by pressing and again, reaching and moving into and out of. This is all really good work. Now I can also be here, switching legs, all right? And I can go into a little bit of a single leg squat, providing I can send my glutes back. I don't want to get into my knee here, but even being here and raising really works my stabilizers. I love using the ball against the wall. Now we see this all the time where people are like, okay, hold a squat for 10 minutes. We don't need to do that. If I'm going into a squat, I want my knees to be in really good alignment. And as I lift up and down, I don't want my knees, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like I'm in a bar class. I want to actually sit back into it like if I'm skiing, if I'm sitting back and I'm skiing like this, I'm in the back seat. I actually want to be more upright and I want a little bit of a hinge forward. So again, if you're a skier, to strengthen your quads, this is actually not a bad exercise. Placing the ball in between the scapula now, and if I'm somebody who really needs to think about my posture, work on my posture, then by being here and doing retraction and protraction of my scapula, or rotation here, and I'm pressing into the ball, just that little feedback of the ball being on the wall really gives me some kinesthetic awareness of where my posture should be or not be. So this just gives you a little taste of how you can use the ball against the wall. This is Leslie, your core training companion.